When Morrie was young, he learned about death. The discovery came as a shock. And he yearned to have all the time in the world, so he purchased and swallowed a clock. Why swallow a clock? What good would that do? Well, it might not make sense to both me and you, but he once heard the phrase, "You are what you eat," and he thought infinite time would make the ultimate treat. He'd boast through the graveyard, so clever was he, for he would never turn to dust or old bone. No maggots would worm themselves into his brain, and he'd avoid the great dark unknown. He dreamt of the future and the people he'd meet. He imagined he'd eat an endless amount of fish fillets. He could even own an exotic caterpillar with feet. You could do so much when you have unlimited days. He could become an astronaut and also pass the bar. He could travel to lavish lands both near and far. He could learn other languages, yes, hieroglyphics and fish. The cat could basically do whatever he wished. The proud, beastly cat felt so alive, and he loved to feel the tock tick. But soon his insides began to writhe. The clock was surely making him sick. The repetitive ticking drove Morrie mad, his fondness replaced with disdain. The cogs and the springs made a mess out of things. With each hour he twisted in pain. The doctors he saw were all quite confused, and the specialists were left perplexed. How could this clock and this cat become fused? And what misfortunes would come for them next? Inside his home he sat very still, for fear if he moved he'd start to feel ill. His back pressed against the wall where he'd sit, tick-tocking through all of it. His arms grew stiff, eyes turned to glass. Morrie's body and heart had frozen, but a ticking continued from inside his chest, a side effect from the choice he had chosen. He took in the sights with his unblinking eyes, and his tail would ferociously swing. Though he had 2 hands, they could no longer feel. For he was a clock whose arms were for counting. From the wall where he clung, so carefully hung, a new fear grew to his dismay. In a world where he now had nothing but time, he thought,
"Will I always be here to stay?"
Now remember, kids, this tale of a tale about life and death and a wish to rewind. The fears time creates can turn into more, a memento, a reminder enshrined.